A very hazardous period of cold air, Arctic weather, and potentially a southern winter storm is on track over the next few days. We're tracking everything from very cold air, the coldest of the season, and a potential southern snowstorm to happen. In this video, I'll break down everything you need to know, all the uncertainties involved, and how you can best prepare for this week in the world of weather. So let's just start right off the bat with our weather pattern, because we've already been dealing with a cold weather pattern. We had some cold blasts this weekend. It's really cold this morning, Monday morning, up in the Midwest and North. That cold blast will peter out, but we have another surge of cold air coming middle of the week. This is not the big one though. The big one is what's happening toward the end of the week. So Thursday into Friday, look at this lobe of cold air. This is straight from the polar vortex, straight from the Arctic Circle, and it's coming into the northern US and Canada. This is sending all this cold air down into the central and eastern US. The coldest time will be Friday into Saturday as that low passes by, and we're just entrenched in this cold troughing weather pattern. Something else though I do want to notice, look to the bottom left, this area right here. This is an area of low pressure off of Baja California. This will be providing moisture and energy, and depending on the setup, this could be the ingredients for a southern snowstorm, potentially ice storm as well. There are lots of uncertainties though, so we'll talk about that over the next few minutes. So to prove the cold air is coming, here are the temperature anomalies, how far below or above temperatures are from average. And again, we're cold right now. Some spots in the north feels like temperatures of negative 30 degrees right now in Minnesota. This current cold blast will be fading and moderating, but here is the big Arctic blast that will be coming. So northern plains, as soon as Thursday, y'all could be seeing some of the cold. This will really spread out across the country. This is Friday at 12 p.m. Some of these pink and whites, that is very cold, much below average temperatures. And notice how expansive this is. It goes all the way down to the Gulf Coast, all the way down to the eastern Atlantic, and it just covers really the whole eastern 2/3 of the country, everything east from the Rockies. Sunday, very cold air lingering, potentially in the Midwest, south, southeast, and even heading into next week, some cold air will linger. And yeah, this will be the coldest air of the season. So after the current cold air leaves, which is probably already the coldest air of the season, this next incoming air will be even colder. So Thursday, 12 p.m. At noon, look at Minnesota. We could be 0 degrees in Minneapolis. Up further north into North Dakota, northern Minnesota, we could be negative 20 degrees. This is noon, in the middle of the day on Thursday. As that front sweeps by, this is painfully cold air, dangerously cold. This model GFS run says negative 34, negative 30 degree air temperatures. Combine that with the gusty winds, wind chills will be negative 50. Now, there is still some room to change on just how cold it is. This model might be a little bit on the stronger side, but a lot more of the models have been agreeing on this very significant cold, bringing dangerous wind chills. So even if it's not right at negative 30, which it still could be, we still need to take this very seriously. The cold will continue to spread out into the south. We have single-digit temperatures as far as St. Louis into the Ohio Valley, and then again up north, those brutally cold negative chills. The freezing line goes all the way to the Gulf Coast. We have 20s and teens all across the south into the deep south on Sunday, and just continuing on with this cold, the cold will advance to the east. This model says single-digit temperatures in North Carolina. That might be a little too cold again. Also, there's some snow bias in this, but you get the picture that the colder air is coming, and it will be the coldest air of the season so far. So make sure we're getting ready for that and just prepare for very cold times this weekend. So just sampling some of the wind chills on the GFS model. This is the wind plus the air temperatures. So air temperatures of negative 30 plus 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. That produces wind chills of negative 40, negative 50. This is maxed out on the color scale. It doesn't get much colder than this, meaning this is extremely dangerous. Again, timing wise, this is late Thursday and then Friday and Saturday. Even places like Chicago, we could be down to negative 20 degree wind chills, negative 30 degree wind chills according to the GFS on Saturday morning. And then even looking down south, teens and 20s all the way into Arkansas, parts of Tennessee. That's very unusual this far south. Boom, that wind chill just craters. Look at this. Places like Austin could feel like 13 degrees on Sunday morning, as well as places in the deep south. Again, this is just one model, and it is one of the colder models, but the trend has been colder. We definitely want to bring this to your attention. We need to make sure we're getting ready for that. So what's going to make this interesting is when that cold air combines with that low pressure over California. That's when the rain chances start, and potentially the wintry mix. I'm going to show you several different models, but first let's just go with the GFS model as to a general picture as to what we can expect. So this is on your day Friday when that cold front starts plowing in. Here out ahead of it, some showers are possible, just regular rain before the front arrives. And then up to the north in the Great Lakes, we have some lake effect snow. But then boom, that cold front comes south, and then look at this. As the front moves south, we have the cold air pouring in. remember that low pressure over California? This will be pouring in the moisture and the energy out over it, and combine these two things together and it just looks like a very wet and potentially snowy scenario across a lot of the US. So here we are, this is late Friday. We're potentially getting snow, a wide swath of snow up through Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee. This area right here, the purple and the pink, that is the freezing rain and the sleet. And the pink/reddish color, that's what we're really going to want to pay attention to, because there could be an impactful ice storm in the mix somewhere in Texas. So let's continue this out. Now the GFS model really takes this to town, bringing a wide stretch of snow, sleet, ice all the way down south. This is just Saturday morning. We could potentially be waking up to ice in Austin, Louisiana, Atlanta, all the way to North Carolina. This is one of the more aggressive models, but even among some of the other models that I'll show you in a minute, they do show this expanse of snow and ice, and this could be very significant. Playing this forward a little bit, notice the snow, the ice goes all the way down to the coast. So even near the beaches of Louisiana, freezing rain indicated by the GFS model. Dallas, you're getting hammered by snow. Raleigh, North Carolina, Birmingham, freezing rain, snow, ice. New Orleans, you might be just on rain according to this model. And then look, this just continues into Texas on your day Sunday, but we get the second swath of heavy snow clearing the northeast and mid-Atlantic, and this could bring some heavy snow to portions of the Carolinas, and then before that moves offshore, still some lingering snow and ice in Texas according to this model again before everything clears. So that's just a general picture we're looking at. Now the specifics, very hard to say. We're still several days out, so this will change many times, but whenever we have a signal this strong, this means that there is a lot of ingredients in place, and if everything comes together just right, we could have a really impactful snow event across this area, especially for these areas further south that usually don't see snow. That's something we'll be tracking, and then that ice threat, that's something we'll also be tracking very closely. So let's get a few other perspectives. Let's take a look at some of the other models. This is the European model, and it also shows a very similar thing. Look at that, we get snow, ice. Look at this wide stretch of freezing rain in that pink color across Texas and Arkansas. This could be a crippling ice storm. This moves east, the freezing rain extends into Austin, into Louisiana, Arkansas, up toward northern Mississippi, and then just continuing on, everything moves east. The European model actually spins up a little bit of a stronger storm off of the mid-Atlantic, so this could potentially bring heavier snow toward the DC area, Virginia, the Carolinas, if this solution is right before it all moves offshore. And then looking at a third model, again, we're just getting multiple perspectives to see what's possible. The Canadian model agrees. Look at that, another wide stretch of snow, sleet, freezing rain, all the way well into Texas, into parts of the south. The Canadian model also agrees with the European in bringing some more snow toward the mid-Atlantic and northeast, so something we'll also be watching. One thing that's striking is that all the models are agreeing on this, so even though we are still several days out, lots can change, the fact that we have this good agreement means that something is brewing, and while we don't have the specifics of what, where, like how much exactly, it does look like someone will be getting the potential for a crippling ice storm and loss of snow in places that usually don't see it. So that's why we're very concerned with this polar Arctic outbreak. Take this with a grain of salt. So this is a GFS model, the first computer model I showed you. I'm a little hesitant to show this because it's likely out to lunch with some of these snow totals, but here's just some sort of expectation of what we're dealing with in the cards. And Texas, it's showing 2 feet of snow. That's not going to happen. I can tell you that for sure. Parts of the mid-Atlantic though, is showing a foot of snow. We don't know if that's going to happen. It could happen if that low pressure strengthens offshore. The bigger thing to take away about this is not the specific numbers. We're too far out for specifics, but just know in this general range, anywhere that there's pink on this map, you are in the threat for at least some sort of accumulating snow, some sort of accumulating ice, and you want to stay weather aware to the forecast over the next week, because this has the potential to be a higher end event. When the model starts spitting out these numbers, then that's when we start getting more concerned. Something else though, let's take a look at the past few runs of the GFS, not just one run, and look at this. Even the run before this was still showing some very heavy snow across Texas, across the mid-Atlantic, the Carolinas. The run before that, look at that, we still have heavy snow in these same areas. Even the run before that, we still have some heavy snow. So this means that there is consistency and there is consensus that something is happening. We just don't know what it is yet exactly, and we can't nail down the amounts. But stay weather aware, especially in Texas, especially in the Carolinas, but really anywhere across the south, because winter weather is a really distinct possibility with this upcoming round of precipitation. I want to leave you with the national blend of models. This is kind of taking all the 3 models models we looked at, combining them together and giving a more conservative forecast, but at this range of forecasting, usually it's a little more accurate. Notice we do have this wide swath of potential snowfall in the south, and again, it doesn't take much to make impacts to places like Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, the deep south, even into Texas. So this is something we're watching, but notice a hotspot. We have this area in the mid-Atlantic. It looks like many of our models are indicating Virginia, potentially DC, Philadelphia. We could be dealing with some heavier snow, and then the secondary area in Texas as well as into some of the plains. Those are kind of the two bullseyes we're watching, but again, anywhere in just this broader area, especially considering how sensitive it is, needs to watch out. So yeah, I think that's about all I'm prepared to say right now about this. There are still so many unknowns as to who will get what. What we do know, cold air is coming. Very cold air is coming to much of the central and eastern US. Get ready for that. Get ready for some sort of wintry precipitation. What it will be exactly, we don't know. So I'm just letting this model loop so you can see once again the overall system, but be prepared, stay weather aware this upcoming week. Don't panic, but definitely stay tuned to the forecast. So thanks for watching, and we'll have more updates through the week.